Inside these two Pelican cases, you'll find everything you expect. A 35mm, 24mm, 24-70, and ultra wide, you get the point. But there's one thing missing, and that's a 50mm. If I'm being honest with y'all, I've been kind of a 50mm hater over the last couple years. It's been a long time since I owned one, but today I'm hoping this 50mm 1.4 by Lumix changes my mind. YouTube, what is up? So somebody reviewing this lens on B&H said it was the best 50mm lens they've used ever. And this person sounded like they had a lot of photography experience. I'm excited to try this thing out. If you've been following the channel, you know I never use 50mm primes. I have one for my Fujifilm. It rarely gets on the camera. I mean, I use it just because of its convenient size, but I really don't like it. I'm a bit of a 50mm hater for a number of reasons. The main one being, I've just never been a fan of the focal length. The second reason I never really like 50s is because typically they come in the nifty 50 packaging, which is more of a beginner basic lens. And as soon as I bought my first really nice 35mm, I never went back to 50 because I was like, why would I use that when I can use a 35-1.4 and get so much more glass, such a better result? So right off the bat, when I picked up this lens from Aperture Rent, that's the company I'm getting this lens from. They're not a sponsor on the video or anything, but they are based in Atlanta. They're an awesome service. When I got it from them, the first thing that came to my attention, I mean, look at this thing. Look how big it is. It is heavy. It is not your typical nifty 50 at all, which is why I'm hoping it changes my mind about this lens. So today what we're gonna do is test it in a number of situations that I would typically use a lens like this. 1, street photography. 2, night photography. 3, more lifestyle type clienty stuff. If you were a fan of me when I worked at Epitome and I did shoe photography, you'll love that section of the video. And the last test being more of a video / social media content test. So 2 quick housekeeping notes. Hit the thumbs up button on today's video if you enjoy it. And also all the street photos in today's video are gonna be edited using my preset module. I don't have Lightroom presets. I have a tool that I built in Lightroom so I can show you in these videos the formula I use for every single edit. So it's not just like a one-size-fits-all thing. You can actually see how I'm getting the edits in my photos so you can replicate them. So if you wanna get that or pick up one of my books to support the channel, you can go to the link in the description down below at evanramp.com. But let's stop wasting time. First test is going to be the street photography test and the night photography test. So those street photos were insane. Now granted, for street photography, the size of this, terrible. I really didn't feel comfortable using this for street photography. This is a $2,200 lens. It performed like a $2,200 lens, but it also felt like you were carrying around $2,200, which plus the Leica SL2 being an expensive camera really made me feel like an opportunity for somebody trying to find an opportunity, if you know what I'm saying. Also, the Leica SL2, I've talked about this before, it has some issues in low light. High ISO is not what this camera is made for, so finally being able to make photos at 1.4 and shoot at night and use like an ISO of 800 or 1600 as opposed to 3200 was a very big deal for me. This lens performed really well at night, even though I didn't really have any photos or any scenes that I was a huge fan of. So the next way I want to test this lens is doing something a little bit more old school for me. If you follow the channel for a long time, you know I used to work at a place called Epitome, where twice a week I did sneaker photography. Essentially, I did everything for their social media as well as their websites. It's where I got a lot of my photography business experience. Well, my buddy Ash, aka Wolf Dog Lives, awesome painter in Atlanta. Make sure you go follow him and check him out. He recently had a client ask him to hand paint some Nike Air Force Ones, so I caught up with him and I used this lens to make all the photos. It felt just like I was working at Epitome back in the day, but I think this is a great test for anyone who's doing more of these basic freelance client things. You don't have a setup, you're using natural light. This was a really good test to see how this lens would perform for a situation like that. All right, y'all, so the photos with Ash, they came out crazy, as I would expect them to, with a $2,200 lens. And this photo shoot and this video really illuminated something for me, and it was a bias on my part and something that I probably should have thought more about. So it's easy to get in patterns of thinking and get into habits and not really assess why you have those thoughts in the first place. And when it comes to 50mm lenses, I wasn't using one because I associated them with being a cheap beginner thing that wasn't the highest quality glass you could get. But obviously this has proven me wrong. This is something that I wish I had in my bag for the last year, and it really highlights the fact that 50mm lenses can be used for a variety of different things. I was able to use it for street photography. I was able to use it for more like client-based stuff, like what I was doing with Ash. Now granted, $2,200 is a big investment for a really basic photo shoot like that, but if you're someone looking to move into having one premium lens that can do a lot for you, a 50mm with more glass that's higher quality like this could be the thing for you. And I tested it in this apartment. I made a quick video of me unboxing some prints that I used on my Instagram, and I also made the thumbnail photo for that video with this camera and this lens, and it looked amazing. This is a lens that I could use for every Instagram reel that I make. And ironically, it's been so long since I used a 50mm lens, I forgot the reason it's called a nifty 50 isn't because it's cheap. It's because it can really do anything. It's kind of like a Swiss Army knife type lens. So if you're someone out there looking to bump up to your first high quality lens, this could be the thing. It can do portraits, it can do street photography, client work, video work. So I don't know, there's definitely cheaper options out there. I know Sigma makes cheaper ones, but this Lumix 50 1.4, so that was a really long-winded way of me saying I am no longer a 50mm hater. I'm actually a 50mm lover now, and I would not be surprised if that particular lens finds its way into my bag sometime in the next few months. It's gonna be floating in the back of my mind every time I go out and make photos, how much I enjoyed that. I mean, the image quality, crazy. Just, I can't get over it. I cannot get over how good those photos look.